at Pine Bush Fair. Let me try that again. We're at the Pine Bush UFO Fair in Pine Bush, New York. I'm with Katie Paige. She is the MUFON State Director for Colorado. So, Katie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Enjoying the beautiful weather. When I came in, it was really rainy.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Gorgeous today. Gorgeous.
It's a blessing from the UFO gods, I suppose.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
They are watching.
They are. This is your first time here, right?
Yeah. Never. It's so funny. So I flew into New Jersey, right? And I see the city in the distance, and I'm texting my son. I'm like, well, there's a city of New Jersey. Mom, I think that's New York City. And I'm like, that's not New York City. I'm like, but then I saw it went on and on and on. I'm like, oh, it is New York City. So yeah. First time seeing New York.
Yeah, don't confuse Jersey City with New York.
My bad.
Yeah, no offense to my fellow New Jerseyans. That's where I grew up.
Funny,
but, yeah.
Man, I felt like an idiot. Anyway, but to see the northern side of New York, it's not like what you picture in your mind. It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous here.
We got lost yesterday. We take us to Pine Bush. It took us to this other. There was no pine. There was no bush. It's like you arrived at your destination, and I don't know where we were, but we got to go through the mountains and cliffs and the rivers. It's really pretty.
Yeah, actually, it's one of those areas where it's just semi-populated enough that, like, if you take an off turn, you can find like some beautiful roads and valleys, but then you'll find your way back.
Yeah.
But don't confuse the other further north Pine Bush from this Pine Bush. So as far as like fairs and events go, like, I know you've been to conferences and that sort of thing. What is it about it that you think is important for the community?
Well, connecting with, finding your tribe, kind of connecting with people, hearing. My favorite thing of all, and we spoke last night. So we had an event last night where we spoke, and to me it's about learning about all of the experiencers and connecting the dots. Because you learn so much from each other, so that's what it's all about. And I just love this. I was honored to do McMinnville in Oregon, and this reminds me a lot of McMinnville too. With the tents and the vendors and just chit chatting and getting to know people, enjoying food, and it's just a lot of fun. I love it.
Yeah. Do you think that every UFO fair should be in these sort of hotspot regions, or do we need to just?
I think we could just do it everywhere.
Anywhere? Yeah.
Yeah, because Cheryl Costa spoke last night, and she's she does the statistics.
Yep.
And goes by zip codes and all that. And really, yes, there are hot spots, but it is just in every zip code, everywhere. It's just everywhere. So I think every state should have a UFO festival. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Spread the word. Now, we've talked about this before, and you've been on Paranormal Now. Where do you draw a line between the paranormal, high strangeness, and UFOs? And is there a line?
Well, within MUFON, the scientific study and analysis is very important, and we do need data.
Yes.
And we do need to take the topic very seriously. And history is important. I love, my favorite ufologist of all time is David Marler, and his archives out there in New Mexico. He's outside of Albuquerque. So I'm all for data, and I'm all for research and scientific. But I also I'm an experiencer as well with the High Strangest Ranch in Colorado, which I went on your show and talked about. And I can't disconnect the two. So I do think there's a connection to that, and I think it would be irresponsible to overlook that.
Yeah. Personally, my experiences have always, for paranormal related, or completely separate from a UFO. The only sighting I had was just this light in the sky.
Right.
But, even in that moment, there was this weird feeling that overcame me. Is that something that you find is common in experiencers? Or?
MUFON does have the ERT team. And so when you do talk to contactees and abductees, that goes hand in hand. Sometimes the experience will start out very frightening and it'll turn into something very positive, but it changes something within these people. And we would be amiss to not look at that. And MUFON does look at that in the ERT realm. But for the high strangeness areas, like Skinwalker Ranch, like Bradshaw Ranch, and Marley Woods, and Trey Hudson down south, and the Colorado Ranch, we do have this hitchhiker, just like Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. They talk about this hitchhiker phenomenon, which is very paranormal in nature, kind of this thing that plays with you. And so that is the reality, and that's what we've experienced. So, you have to look at that too, And Project Blue Book they did look at the nuts and bolts craft aspects. Did it stop? What was the propulsion system? What color was it? Did it make a sound? Did it have any emission? All that. But they didn't ask the people who witnessed those kind of questions, and I think they overlooked that. And now it's kind of cool to go back and look at that. Like, once you had that sighting of that UFO, did anything else happen to you?
Yeah, I think that's something that's really important.
Yeah.
Old data is valuable.
Right.
And because we have new techniques, right, and new understandings of psychology as well.
Right.
So when you're going back in time, if people, especially that are still alive, that have had those experiences, like Debbie Coble, Travis Walton, they're actually able to, I think, kind of reframe their experience with our, with the deeper understanding we have of this phenomena.
And I think as years go on, it unfolds the deeper meanings. A reptilian just walked by, I'm just going to say, if you saw me going like this, the horns and everything.
Yes, there are reptilians here in Pine Bush, New York.
There are actual aliens here walking among us.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, there might be, and according to one of the speakers earlier. So the last question for you is, what did you think about the hearings? Last week, the congressional hearings,
Obviously, it's good to destigmatize the phenomenon, make it more acceptable for pilots and our military men and women to make those reports and not feel so like, oh my gosh, That's a good thing that came out of it. There were some appalling moments, they couldn't. They couldn't freeze the footage they used for their
I know.
And then what concerned me the most was that word control and can you prosecute somebody who's going to speak their truth and and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what is that?
What's going on here?
Yeah, what's going on?
It's almost like they're testing the waters.
It's like they're testing the waters, and it's like they want to control the narrative a little bit, and that worries me. So it's like they want to. It's like experiencers and researchers and field investigators. We're trying, driving the car, and they want to scooch us in the back seat or kick us out of the car altogether. And we just maybe they want to take the wheel, but let's stay in the passenger seat.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So overall, then, was it a positive or negative? Or is that too simplified?
For me, I think it's, what I said, the one positive thing is let's destigmatize it and come forward. But overall, I think it's mostly negative.
Mostly negative?
Yeah,
oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
I do, because if it's a controlling thing and they're going to control the narrative, are they controlling a false narrative?
That's true.
What's the end game? What's the threat? What are they doing?
Yeah, and if they're concealing, which clearly they are, because if they're using like the worst footage that you can have, then why are they not showing the public the really good stuff?
Right, and some of the obvious things we all know they should know about, I mean, come on, and they're denying that they even know about it.
That's right, and that's
disingenuous.
You're right. So
disingenuous. So I'm sorry, I hate to distrust my government so much, and I'm, but
no, I get it. No, I get it. Because my first takeaway was, hey, this is a baby step.
Yeah.
Maybe we're warming the public up a little bit.
Yeah.
But then
all of it is,
but then if you're leading with concealing information, then you're hiding something from the public, and there's that thread of dishonesty, which we've seen over the decades, still running through the narrative. So I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's where I am.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Katie.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right.
Enjoy the festival.
Woo-hoo. Thanks for joining us, guys.